I'm starting on my actually second ukulele build. It's going to be a really nice one. This is actually the first ukulele that I built, and there was no video for it only because I've never built an acoustic instrument like this before. I guess maybe my first guitar build was kind of an acoustic. You could play it as an acoustic, but it wasn't very traditional with the wood bending and stuff. So I just wanted to, get one under my belt and kind of get an idea of what I was in for before just diving into a video. But we're starting on one now. It's definitely going to be one of the most difficult things that I've ever built. Let's check it out. Alright, I got some really pretty spruce. This is Sitka spruce that I ordered from StewMac. I want to address this now. You can see here that I've got the body shape traced out on this side of the soundboard. This is my soprano sized template. Now I admit when I don't know something, and this is something I don't know, but I assume that technically you're supposed to join these boards together, get this center line matched up, and make your top from that. If I do that, I could build two ukuleles and have a whole bunch of waste. If I separate both these boards, I could get a ukulele from this, and that. I don't know if it's just a thing you do for aesthetic reasons, so you could get that book match going on. You can go ahead and cut that out. Alright, I'm about to sand down to my lines. I'm just going to go ahead and drill out the sound hole in this. That's what I like about ukuleles, is you could drill out the sound hole. It's been a couple of days since I cut the top, and I was thinking about these like old Gibson guitars that I've seen from way back in the day that have binding around the inside of the sound hole. I'm pretty sure there are some guitars that still do that, and I was thinking I'd kind of like to do something like that on this. So I've got this tiny thin strip of padauk, and I'm trying to work a curve into it so I can glue it around the inside of the sound hole. I don't have a bending iron yet, because like I said, I'm still pretty new to all this luthier stuff, but I got this iron, and I'm just spritzing down the padauk and just trying to work a curve into it. Now there's a lot of wood bending in this instrument making stuff, and I'm not super great at it, but Alright, I got that little ring about as good as I could get it, and it did crack in a couple of places, but not in any sort of way that I think you'll be able to tell it once we're done with it. I think it's best to use glue where if in the future you got to make a repair on it, it's glue similar to like hide glue that you could take apart. So what I've discovered is Titebond Original comes apart pretty easy if you're trying to take it apart, just the same way hide glue would. Titebond 2 does not come apart. Using the same methods that you would to take apart Titebond Original joint or hide glue joint doesn't work with Titebond 2. It's not coming apart. So what I do on my instruments is pretty much most of the structural things, like 90% of the instrument is put together with Titebond Original, just in case for some reason I gotta go in there and take a top off or take a back off or take the neck out. Other things I use the Titebond 2. like for instance the veneer over this peg head. That has nothing to do with the integrity of the instrument, it's just decorative. It will never come off, there's no reason to ever have to take it apart. Kind of, I guess, like padauk binding going around the sound hole. There's no reason to ever have to take it off of there, so I'm going to use the Pt1 2. That was a long-winded way of saying I'm using Pt1 2. I don't know what it is about this spruce, but his hair sticks to it like crazy. So this has been sitting for a few days. That padauk binding on there is looking pretty good. I told you I could hide those cracks. I've had disaster strike. I was using that iron to bend that padauk. My cat knocked it down. The iron spilled water. Well, and this all happened while I was at work. He knocked this down too. It made contact with the water and it warped. Luckily the warp is kind of coming out of it, but it's just a little bit cupped. But one thing that'll help with that is a brace. It's not beyond repair, so pretty much gluing the brace on and then probably the bridge plate, and then when it's glued to the body it'll flatten it back out again, so it's fine. But I'm going to glue this brace on this. So this is an instance where I use the regular Pt1 since it's much easier to take apart than the Pt1 2. Pretty much anything that may need future repairs, I use the Pt1 original. Just some nice clamping pressure. Now I know that this brace looks pretty chunky, but I will carve it down by hand to a nice dainty little brace after it's dry. I decided I could go ahead and get the bridge plate on here now. I'm using padauk for a bridge plate just because it's a really good tone wood, and so using that as a bridge plate, it'll give the instrument just the best chances it'll have for being a good sounding instrument. I was skeptical as to whether or not a ukulele actually needed a bridge plate, but I have two ukuleles that I bought and I can reach down in there past the brace and feel the lip of the bridge plate. And I've seen other people build ukuleles where they have a bridge plate, so this should be interesting. That's probably about all I'm going to do on that tonight. So here it is out of the clamp. You can see that brace is still really chunky because all I did was just take the clamps out, but it's helped with the tone already. I don't know if you can hear that, but and I just start shaping it. It's really easy with this chisel to take a lot of material off. I want to take the ends down to where there's nothing there. And yeah, I could have cut it to where it stopped before reaching the end, but it's really not any harder to just carve it. And I finally got my padauk in that I could use to do the back of the ukulele, the back and sides. I got this little back strip that I ordered from Stumac. How I set this up is you get a thin strip of wood and you put it in here so it kind of pops it up like that, and then you could glue it, pull that strip out, and it'll fall nice and flat and tight, and then you could set some heavy stuff on top of there too. I'll let that dry. Alright, I went ahead and cut out my back, which is looking really good. And I've cut out some rough braces. Of course, they're going to be carved way down. And I'm going to glue those on, and I decided I'm going to try out hide glue for really no other reason than like it's like genuine luthier glue, I guess. I think the original Type Bond would be just fine, but I'm a sucker for the hoity-toity luthier stuff, so I'm going to try the hide glue, and it's easily reversible, and these braces are something that could potentially need to be fixed or repaired in the future.